Hello guys, welcome to Rex Arthur TV. The Rex is a channel and network that discusses LGBTQ issues with a humanistic approach and an LGBTQ perspective. Now today we are going to focus on conversion therapy, and we have titled this video Conversion Therapy is Sexual Destruction. And it is not even, I wonder why did they even call it therapy? They should have just called it conversion, sexual conversion, and not therapy. It is nowhere, it cannot be therapeutic, because if it ain't broke, why fix it? You know, someone is having fun with the same sex and you want to stop it? That's madness. That is a violation of human rights of a human being, because you are violating the freedom of expression. Remember what expression is. Expression is to show yourself who you are. To portray yourself as a human being. And the problem we're having with these so-called converters is that they have a mind view. They are control freaks. They want to make people live in their world. You know, people want to make people straight. You know, just like, you know, they don't value uniqueness. They don't value diversity. Actually, they are anti-science. Thank you, Wikipedia, for calling this pseudoscientific. It is pseudoscience, because true science is based on diversity. Pseudoscience does not know diversity. Nature is naturally diverse. Nature is naturally unique, and diversity plays in every sector of nature. Every, from sexuality to eyesight to hearing to skin makeup to height to weight to hair type. Everything in nature is diverse. Even your liver is not the same as the liver of another person. So, a science that tries to fight diversity is not a science. And this is conversion therapy. In fact, the world is so slow in dealing with it. I'm very happy with the very many activists that are dealing with conversion therapy and fighting it. One of them is a great Christian. She was a Christian singer, Vicky Beaching, and she's really doing a marvelous job fighting off these conversion therapists. And because I used to ask myself, why is Vicky Beaching not singing? You know, she was a singer, and I was waiting to hear now her new songs from her newfound home, in terms of now she's an LGBTQ Christian. And I got to realize what she's facing, and I got to understand. I mean, Bishop Yvette Flander, she is also a singer, and I was waiting to hear her songs. But I got to realize, no, I think what they are going through is priorities first. You know, you have to protect the LGBTQ persons in the faith spaces. And one of the ways is to deal with these people. So maybe they have no time to do songs because there's a lot of work to try, and it's more valuable to deal with LGBTQ issues in faith spaces than to just enjoy life, that things are going well. Of course, some of us I was questioning this to myself and said, I don't hear a lot of LGBTQ Christian music. At least I hear LGBTQ secular music. But I'm waiting for LGBTQ Christian music. And I think it's because when you enter the faith space as an LGBTQ person, you have a lot of work to do to deal with the homophobia that's in the faith space. Because basically, the faith spaces are mostly homophobic in the world. Not all of them, but some of them, mostly Christianity and Islam. So when the moment you've declared you're an LGBTQ person in a faith space, be prepared to respond to such attacks from homophobes and other people. All right, so let's read through. This is going to be another playlist, Rex Arthur's Wikipedia, whereby we'll be reading articles from Wikipedia. We thank Wikipedia so much for giving the world knowledge. It is one of the best resources in the world. Of course, even Google. I love the internet. I even can't say, it's even harder to say God bless the internet. I mean, what can we say? It's too good. It's too good. Even if I say God bless the internet, I think I would just rather give some money to the internet. There's a way you can donate to Wikipedia to keep it going. Yes, they really do a splendid job. And as you see this article, they look at the footnotes down here. 7. It's very good. So this is, I don't have words to say. When you do good things to me, I cannot tell it all. Now, let's go through. Conversion therapy is a pseudo-scientific practice of trying to change an individual's sexual orientation from homosexual or bisexual to heterosexual, using psychological or spiritual interventions. So basically, conversion therapy is trying to change someone's sexual orientation. Now, what is sexual orientation? Sexual orientation is an enduring pattern of romantic or sexual attraction or a combination of these to the persons of the opposite sex or gender, the same sex or gender, or to both sexes or more than one gender. These attractions are generally subsumed under heterosexuality, homosexuality, and bisexuality, while asexuality, the lack of sexual attraction to others, is sometimes identified as the fourth category. Yeah, and it's very important. So I've liked what they've said here. It is an enduring pattern of romantic or sexual attraction or a combination of these. It's not even really necessarily having sex. It is based on attraction. So let's go back to reading the conversion therapy. I want to find a shortcut. This thing sometimes I have not found a way of doing what you call, look at those lady boys in Thailand. It's very good that's happening there. So I want us to go back to our discussion of the day. What is this? Social constructionism. I'm trying to find a shortcut. Yeah, there's sodomy. I'm going to talk about sodomy. Do you know lesbians are also sodomites? Yeah, anyone who does sex that is not involving the dick and the vagina is in sodomy. We'll talk about that later on when we discuss the colonial laws. All right. I think I will have to go here. Good. Let's go back. Yeah, we'll talk about sodomy, and it's a mind-boggling thing because I remember some lady I respect. She was not a fan of sodomy, and she's also an LGBTQ activist, but she thinks that sodomy is only a gay act. No, it is not a gay act. It is gays do engage in sodomy, same to lesbians, because they don't, there's no dick involved in lesbian sex. They can be a dildo, but there's no dick. And the law, the way the British and other countries, but mostly the British colonialists, when they made the law, it was, they called any sex that was unnatural in their view, unnatural, was called sodomy. So even lesbian sex is considered sodomy in that colonial law. Now, there is virtually no reliable evidence that sexual orientation can be changed, and medical bodies warn that conversion therapy practices are ineffective and potentially harmful. Now, this is what I want you to sleep on tonight. No reliable evidence that sexual orientation can be changed. It's impossible. It's impossible. It is impossible. There is no evidence that your sexual orientation. Why is it you can't be changed? Do you know why? Sexual orientation is innate. Lady Gaga finished it for us again. We have to pay homage to her. Yes, born this way. It's like that. It's just like that. You are gay. You are bisexual. That's it. Live your life. Yes, it's true. It's innate. And it's weird. That's it. So, nevertheless, advocates and proponents do provide anecdotal reports of people who claim some degree of success in becoming heterosexual. Now, for me, I also don't. You know what I tell these guys who say that it's successful? It's not successful. You've made the person bisexual. Yes. The person is bisexual. Yeah. And number one, the other thing people need to ask themselves, when you attend a conversion therapy session, have you had sex? That should be the first question. Because if you've had sex and then you become so-called heterosexual, you are not, it means you are a bisexual. Because if you had sex, you had homosexual sex, because the sex these converters want to change, they are attacking is same sex, is homosexuality. So if you've already had sex more than once and you go and attend a conversion therapy session and then you now suddenly become straight, you are bi. Yes, you're a bisexual. Because sex is so natural. You cannot have sex. You cannot have sex with somebody you're not attracted to. Yes. It's impossible. Even, you know what rape is? Rape is forced sex. Most rapists are people who can they do the sex act because they are heterosexual, so they can actually rise to the occasion, therefore showing you that they are innately straight. But the other party, especially the woman, since it is straight sex, or even in some cases women can also rape men, is the other party is not in consent, does not agree to the sex act. That's why it is rape. But why does rape exist? It's because of natural characteristics, biological. So any sex act, even gay people are involved in a biological process. So people don't understand sex, and they're here busy converting people. You know, there are some people who attend these conversion therapies. They don't even know what being gay is. They just say, I feel I'm gay. And then the converter says, oh, you feel you're gay? Come, let's pray for you. And then they pray for them, and then they come out and say, I'm straight. These, they need to be scrutiny. People should ask, this person who said he's gay, how is he gay? Has he slept with another man? You don't just say that this person was gay and now he's straight, and he has never done anything with a man. Never. He's just feeling. You know, it is homophobia that makes some people think they are gay. Yes. Some people fear gays so much, they even run to the pastor and say, you know what? I think I'm gay. And then the pastor is ignorant, does not know what being gay is, and says, let prayers begin. And then they pray, and then the person now says, I'm straight. And then pastor goes to the church and gives people fake news, fake report that somebody who was gay has now become straight. And it reinforces homophobia. It's bollocks. It's thorough rubbish. See? Thorough rubbish. Because how can you go and tell a blind person, you are blind also, and you tell a blind person, the sun is blue? How will this blind person confirm that the sun is not blue? He can't. He's also blind. So that's what happens in these conversion therapy sessions. Somebody goes, he says he's gay. He's not gay. He's not gay. And then this pastor even does not know what being gay is. And then he says, okay, let's pray for you. And then the person says, yes, I'm now healed. Oh, this is why I support LGBTQ affirming churches. And I support LGBTQ clergy, gay pastors, lesbian pastors, bisexual pastors, transgender pastors. Why? They understand their congregation. Yes, they understand their congregation. Even an ally pastor, that's a straight pastor who understands gay people. Yes, they also deserve commendation. Who said a straight person can't pastor gay people? They can. That's an ally. Yeah, that's an ally. He understands gay people. He can relate with them even if he's not gay. It's an ally. But anybody who is a homophobe, you can't go and tell a homophobe to remove homosexuality. Oh my, it's so sad. Anyway, I had to talk about that because you see, there's no evidence. First of all, even the person who says he's gay, how sure are you he's gay? Is he just guessing? You know, some people just have beliefs. Okay. Medical, scientific, and government organizations in the United States and United Kingdom have expressed concern, thank you for doing that, over conversion therapy and consider it potentially harmful. Various legal jurisdictions in Asia, Europe, Oceania, and the Americas have passed laws against conversion therapy. Congratulations to all of those countries and regions for passing laws against conversion therapy. Yes, it's wrong. It's wrong because you are telling somebody not to accept themselves as they are sexually. Now, the American Psychiatric Association opposes psychiatric treatment based upon the assumption that homosexuality per se is a mental disorder, or based upon the a priori assumption that a patient should change his sex or her sexual or homosexual orientation. You see? So, this is opposing psychiatric treatment that is based upon the belief it's an assumption, it's not even fact, that homosexuality is a mental disorder. Homosexuality is not a mental disorder. Reason being, homosexuals have contributed to the world's success. Alan Turing was a homosexual, and he is the father of computer science. See? Tim Cook is the CEO of Apple, the richest company in the world today, and he is gay. He is gay. It's a fact. So, a person with a mental disorder cannot reach those heights of success. It's impossible. Yes. People with mental disorders are not able to function mentally. And a job of a CEO and a computer scientist like Alan Turing and Tim Cook requires a brain that is working. So these guys have said they are gay and they are brilliant computer scientists. How can you call them mentally disordered? So thank you, American Psychiatric Association. It also states that the debates over the integration of gay and lesbian people have obscured science by calling into question the motives and even the character of individuals on both sides of the issue, and that the advancement of conversion therapy may cause social harm by disseminating unscientific views about sexual orientation. Thank you. Yes, because that's what I'm saying is going to happen. These pastors or imams, but mostly pastors I see doing this, they will go to the church and tell people these people have changed. And it affects the church. Remember the guy who is on YouTube, Andrew Caldwell, the black American who went to Crystal Cathedral, Shula's church, and declared that he's no longer gay. And I want you to watch that testimony. He was saying it with a lot of anger. And I was wondering, is that a testimony? That's not a testimony. That's somebody who he's fighting. He's so angry, he's not happy that he's gay. That's all. And it's because of his background. He was raised in a very Pentecostal background, and that's what has happened to him. It's sad, but I'm happy. Let him express himself on YouTube. It gives me comic relief. But the problem is he was now spreading disinformation, the unscientific views about sexual orientation that you can actually change. No, because how sure are you he has changed? Maybe he's bisexual. Yes. I mean, do you sleep with Andrew? And you know that now he's not gay? In fact, now he has a lady to cover that, to show. It's like he's really proving that it has happened. Let me tell you, even a woman can marry a gay man. Yes. But the question is that what that gay person needs? In the end, do what you want to do. But do not go out and spread disinformation that gay people can change. He has not changed. And if a woman marries him and he's very happy, he's bisexual. And I would also want to know whether Andrew was fucked. Yes, or whether he fucked, It's very interesting. Yes. So this is very good coming from APA. And United States Surgeon General David Sacher in 2001 issued a report stating that there is no valid scientific evidence that sexual orientation can be changed. It's a fact. There is no evidence. It's a fact. And you know why there is no evidence? Sexual orientation is biological. Full stop. Attraction is biological. Erection is biological. Simple. And not just erection, because even romantic attraction, as that's why asexuals are part of the community. They have low libido, but that doesn't mean they don't have attraction. They just have low sex drive. Yes. Okay. Let's go on. The highest profile advocates of conversion therapy today tend to be fundamental Christians, groups, and other organizations which use a religious justification for the therapy rather than speaking of homosexuality as a disease. The main organization advocating secular forms of conversion therapy is the National Association for Research and Therapy of Homosexuality, that is NATH, which often partners with religious groups. So these guys are researchers and therapists, so-called, and they are advocating for secular forms of conversion therapy. Basically, you need to understand this. A cow is not a goat. And since a cow is not a goat, the cow will always want to be around cows. Now, I remember one time when I was in the village, my friend showed me something that was very interesting. The cow gave birth to a calf. And the calf, for some strange reason, went to sleep with the goats one day. Now, when the calf went to the cow, do you know what happened? The cow refused the calf. She said this is, she just shrugged it off and stopped caring for the calf because the calf was smelling, had the smell of a goat. And for the cow, it knows that the calf, it knows that goats, it's not a friend of a goat. They don't stay together. So it said this calf is a goat. And it also happens with chicken. Sometimes when chicks are used to another mother and they are both in the same pen, the chick cannot go to that other mother. Even the hen can refuse and say, that is not my chick. Yes. So this is what these researchers and therapists are doing. They have realized there are some people who are different sexually in their midst. And so they try to change them to be like them. Because they think that their life is the best. As I told you, these are pseudoscientists. They don't know science. Science is diverse. Nature is diverse. Nature is diverse. So you cannot change nature to make it uniform. It's like trying to make the moon the sun. It's impossible. It's impossible. The moon is the moon. Jupiter is Jupiter. It can never be Earth. Yes. So, a homosexual is a homosexual. You're wasting your time trying to change that person. And thank you to these governments that have banned this. Why are you bothering somebody's sexual identity? All right, so let's go on. Techniques used in conversion therapy prior to 1981 in the United States and Western Europe include ice pick lobotomies, chemical castration with hormonal treatment, aversive treatments such as the application of electric shock to the hands and or genitals, nausea-inducing drugs administered simultaneously with the presentation of homoerotic stimuli, and masturbatory reconditioning. So these guys, look at how they went through very bad methods. And remember, common chemical castration, that's what they did to Alan Turing. Can you imagine? Alan Turing was chemically castrated because of his sexual orientation. And this is sad, because in fact, after that, Alan Turing committed suicide. He could not be himself. Yes, he could not be himself. And he's wrong. They should not have chemically. In fact, I do not support chemical castration for anyone, for one reason. Castration should be voluntary and should not be forced. Castration was also forced in the past when the Arabs came to Africa and they wanted to they wanted men to protect their harems where they had kept their women for sexual pleasure. They castrated the men, African men, and most Africans were eunuchs, but it was forced castration. You see, you'd rather do the Jesus castration. Jesus said, if you want to be one, castrate yourself. Yes. That's better. That's voluntary. But do not do forceful castration. Even I know there was an argument. People say they should chemically castrate rapists. And I say no. You must understand a rapist also, where he's coming from. Yes, I know it may sound controversial, but it is true. Most rapists are people, you have to study their psychological state. And you study it in prison. When you've imprisoned them, you don't need to castrate somebody whom you've imprisoned. Like Alan Turing, he was imprisoned. Why did they have to castrate him? I know why. They knew he was going to wank. They knew he was going to do masturbation. And therefore, life will go on. Because masturbation is relieving. Yes, it's very good. It's stress relieving. It's also sex. So you see, even if you put him in prison, at least let him masturbate. Yeah. There he would have stayed in prison and come out, and who knows, he would have come out at the time when Britain would have said actually homosexuality is natural, and we are sorry for doing that to Alan. So that is what it is. More recent clinical techniques used in the United States have been limited to counseling, visualization, social skills training, psychoanalytic therapy, and spiritual interventions such as prayer and group support and pressure. Though there are some reports of aversive treatments through unlicensed practice as late as the 1990s. Yeah, so these are other techniques they're using, counseling. I remember these ones. I've gone through some of them. You go and be counseled that, this is not the way people should live and blah, blah, blah. Visualization, they make you look. Maybe you're looking at things that they don't make you, they make you gay. Do these other things that will make you straight. Social skills training, psychoanalytic therapy, spiritual intervention such as prayer and support and pressure. I like that word pressure. It's so interesting. And group support, instead you are in a group and they're telling you, guys, I think this thing is so bad. It's not who we are. No, that is wrong. That is not. Homosexuality is natural. It's innate. That's it. That's what people need to understand. You see, the secret to stop conversion therapy is to enter the schools. Yes, educate people about sex. Thorough sex education. I am an advocate of thorough sex education. And I'm very happy with what Netherlands is doing to the young children. Yes, they are on the right track. Yes. They are better than other countries that are hiding their children not to learn, when these children have now newer options of getting knowledge. You see, even if you block the internet, children they play together. Yes? Even if you block programs, they will play together and they will discover their sexuality. I mean, how many children know they are gay? Very many. Why? When they play together, they enjoy it. Yes. Children's body parts are maturing when the sexual organs, and that means also their minds are maturing sexually as they grow up. And children tend to play together. It's a fact. Your parent cannot be there all the time watching what your child is doing. And this is the problem most parents are facing. They are trying to be control freaks. And that is what's going to destroy their children. You don't be a control freak. Teach your child the truth. Teach him that sex happens and tell him when they should have sex. Yes. Children are at an age, they are very receptive to information. Yes. You tell them, this is how sex happens. There is homosexual sex. There is heterosexual sex. There is non-penetrative sex. There is penetrative sex. But for these reasons, we want you to practice it at this time. And teach them everything. That's the only way. Otherwise, we'll have these problems here that we are having. And it's waste of money and time. Now let's go through the history. Now the history, there was the early Freudian period and the period of mainstream approval of conversion therapy. Now, during the earliest parts of psychoanalytic history, analysts granted that homosexuality was non-pathological in certain cases, and the ethical question of whether it ought to be changed was discussed. By 1920s, analysts assumed that homosexuality was pathological and that attempts to treat it were appropriate. Those forms of homosexuality that are considered perversions were usually held to be incurable. Analysts' tolerant statements about homosexuality arose from the recognition of the difficulty of achieving change. Beginning in the 1930s and continuing for roughly 20 years, major changes occurred in how analysts viewed homosexuality, which involved a shift in the rhetoric of analysts, some of whom felt free to ridicule and abuse their gay patients. Yes, you see, these analysts realized something. People were not changing. Yes. They were not changing. Now look at Sigmund Freud. I'm so saddened by this. I didn't expect him to be a very homophobic man. Being a Jew, he shouldn't be near homophobia. But he is a Jew who grew up in homophobic Europe, so it's understandable. Now, Sigmund Freud was a physician and the founder of psychoanalysis. Freud stated that homosexuality could sometimes be removed through hypnotic suggestion, and was influenced by Eugene Steinach, a Viennese endocrinologist who transplanted testicles from straight men into gay men in attempts to change their sexual orientation. So are you seeing what Steinach did? And look at Steinach's work. He was an endocrinologist. Endocrinologists are the people who deal with hormones. And so, what did he transplant? Testicles, and put them in gay men to change their sexual orientation. Why? It's because the testicles are the home of testosterone. And gay men, when they are sexually attracted to a man, their testicles are the ones that get, the testosterone in the body. Their testosterone is gay. Yes. And so, these guys all these homophobic, so sad, Sigmund Freud was like that, but he's homophobic from that, and I think we'll end when we look at his views, stating that his research had thrown a strong light on organic determinants of homoeroticism. Freud cautioned that Steinach's operations would not necessarily make possible a therapy that could be generally applied, arguing that such transplant procedures would be effective in changing homosexuality in men only in cases in which it was strongly associated with the physical characteristics typical of women, and that probably no similar therapy could be applied to lesbianism. You see, Freud's issue was, okay, you want to change men, but how can we change the lesbians? You see, can you transplant a vagina? You see, it's a big joke. So Steinach's method was doomed to failure because the immune systems rejected transplanted glands and was eventually exposed as ineffective and often harmful. It was, yes, because your glands are connected to the immune system. So it is very hard to have a transplanted gland connecting with an immune system. The immune system doesn't know that gland. Yeah, it doesn't. And this is what Steinach failed in. And then Freud had to come up with something else. In his discussion of female homosexuality, the 1920 paper, The Psychogenesis of a Case of Homosexuality in a Woman, which described his analysis of a young woman who had entered therapy because her parents were concerned that she was a lesbian. Her father wanted this condition changed. In Freud's view, the prognosis was unfavorable because of the circumstances under which she entered therapy, and because homosexuality was not an illness or neurotic conflict. Freud wrote that changing homosexuality was difficult and possible only under unusually favorable conditions, that in general to undertake to convert a fully developed homosexual into a heterosexual does not offer much more prospect of success than the reverse. Success meant making heterosexual feeling possible, not eliminating, you see, not eliminating homosexual feelings. So the success of the converter is just to make someone heterosexual, but it is not to eliminate homosexual feelings because they can't disappear. So what does this mean? This is bisexuality. That's why I always tell people who praise gay conversion, I say there's no gay converting. You have just made that person bi. And everybody is bisexual. Yes. Generally, what I mean by that is not that you're really bisexual. It's that you have the capacity to sleep with a man or a woman. Now, the thing that wins is the attraction that really makes you more happy or secure or you love. That's the one now will call you gay. If you are the same sex. And the other one is you are straight and you're bisexual, the bisexual capacity, I call it like that, or intersex capacity, because we are also all intersex. By that I mean we have male and female sex hormones. Both men and women have male and female sex hormones in their bodies. This is why some men have female brains. Yes. And some women have male brains. They have big heads. Yes. And they are women. So what does that mean? They are intersex. Yeah. And they are also bisexual. And so what does this mean? Don't attack the sexual choice and sexual feeling of a person. Yes, because if somebody says, you know what, I really I love sleeping with men, I just love it, you are homosexual. Go on. What are we doing trying to change people? And you do not know, why is that person loving to sleep with men? Who knows? He may also be, much as there is homosexual attraction, they can also be transgender attraction. You see? Because it's hormonal. So you'll find some men, they are attracted to other men in the way a woman is attracted to a man. But that man who is having that attraction, he's a man. So what do? Let them be together. Don't fight him because he's attracted to a man like a woman is attracted to a man. That's him. And so these conversion therapists, look at what now Freud was taking people through hell only to make them bisexual. So he did nothing. Basically, they never made someone leave homosexuality. They just wanted someone to be heterosexual. That's all. And I've told you that there is nothing like making someone wholly heterosexual. He'll just become bi. Or he's a bi. That's all. So that's all they are trying to do. But in my view, do not attack or do not try to attempt to convert somebody. Don't even try to make a homosexual bi. Let them be what they want to be and who they feel good to be in. Yes. Because let me tell you, a homosexual can sleep with a woman and not even erect. Yes. He's homosexual. So, what are you trying to do? Trying to make a homosexual become a bisexual is wrong. Or trying to make a bisexual straight so that you tell him, don't sleep with men. No, let the bisexual be bisexual. Everybody, all sexual identities have equal sexual rights. Gay people could seldom be convinced that heterosexual sex would provide them with the same pleasure they derived from homosexual sex. Patients often wanted to become heterosexual for reasons Freud considered superficial, including fear of social disapproval and insufficient motive for change. Some might have no real desire to become heterosexual, seeking treatment only to convince themselves that they had done everything possible to change, leaving them free to return to homosexuality after the failure they expected. So this thing of gay people could seldom be convinced. So they wouldn't be convinced that heterosexual sex is better than homosexual. So what Freud used to do is that he would use people who are fearing. If you had homophobia and you're gay, that was when you become Freud's patient. So he was hunting for homosexuals who feared social disapproval and therefore were homophobic. And then he would try and change them. You see? And others just don't want to be heterosexual, but they are just looking for treatment. Just to show that I've tried my best. I've done what you told me. And it has failed. So, let life go on. You see, it's very sad. And look at a mother who went to Freud asking him to treat her son Freud replied in a letter that became famous. Let's now play his voice. I don't know how he used to speak. I gather from your letter that your son is a homosexual. It is nothing to be ashamed of. No vice, no degradation. It cannot be classified as an illness. We consider it to be a variation of the sexual function produced by a certain arrest of sexual development. By asking me if I can help your son, you mean, I suppose, if I can abolish homosexuality and make normal heterosexuality take its place? The answer, in a general way, we cannot promise to achieve it. In a certain number of cases, we succeed in developing the blighted germs of heterosexual tendencies which are present in every homosexual. In the majority of cases, it is no more possible. It is a question of the quality and the age of the individual. The result of treatment cannot be predicted. And there is your Sigmund Freud. Sandor Ferenczi, also another psychoanalyst, hoped to cure some kinds of homosexuality completely, but was content in practice with reducing that what he considered gay men's hostility to women, along with the agency of their homosexual desires, and with helping them to be attracted to and potent with women. Okay, here he's trying to say, Ferenczi is saying, oh my God, that's very funny. In his view, a gay man who was confused about his sexual identity and felt himself to be a woman with the wish to be loved by a man was not a promising candidate for cure. Ferenczi believed that complete, look at that word, believe, and he's a psychoanalyst, that complete cures of homosexuality might become possible in the future when psychoanalytic technique had been improved. So please, you must understand this. Most of these psychologists, they were primarily homophobic people. So when you are homophobic, if you do not deal with the homophobia in your life as an academic, as a scientist, it can affect how you deal with homosexuality. So there is a need also to help scientists that are homophobic. As I've told you, the reason why there are scientists who are homophobic, it is because, but there are not so many, please note, there are not so many, it is because most of them are not gay. So their understanding of homosexuality requires more effort because they are not gay. Now, Ferenczi was out there and he found out that the gay men, the effeminate ones, who want to be loved by a man could not be cured. So what does this mean? That those who didn't feel like they were women could be changed. And again, I cancel Ferenczi. That's not true. They are just bisexual. Yes. They are bisexual. Especially a homosexual who doesn't want to be a woman. There are homosexuals who are not feminine. Yes, they are macho homosexuals. They are neutered homosexuals. And they are effeminate homosexuals. And most effeminates want to be women, but they don't. And it's even wrong to call them transgender, even though someone would think they are trans, because they don't even want to lose the dick. They want to sleep with a man. They want to be a man's woman. Yeah, and both of them have dicks. So Ferenczi struggled with those men. And he just said, you know what, just leave it like that. And, of course, now we're going to Anna Freud, the daughter of Sigmund. And she became an influential psychoanalytic theorist in the UK. Anna reported the successful treatment of homosexuals as neurotics in a series of unpublished lectures. She published some clinical remarks concerning the treatment of cases of male homosexuality in the International Journal of Psychoanalysis. In her view, it was important to pay attention to the interaction of passive and active homosexual fantasies and strivings, the original interplay of which prevented adequate identification with the father. The patient should be told that his choice of a passive partner allows him to enjoy a passive or receptive mode, while his choice of an active partner allows him to recapture his lost masculinity. She claimed that these interpretations would reactivate repressed castration anxieties and childhood narcissistic grandiosity, and its complementary fear of dissolving into nothing during heterosexual intercourse would become the renewal of heterosexual potency. My God, Anna, you are even more beyond than your daddy. Oh my God. So here she is saying that if you're a passive partner in gay sex, she would counsel you to change your choice and become an active partner, to become a top, so that you can restore your lost masculinity. But the problem is, masculinity is not in activity. Yes. We are now in a new school of thought that being a receiver, a man can be a receiver. So what was Anna's problem? Anna was heteronormative. Yes. She saw the world in a heteronormative light. She didn't see the world in a diverse light. Please, let us enter into the diverse light. Let us enter the rainbow. That's diverse light. Yes, diverse light. What is a diverse light? View sexual identities in a diverse manner, not in a dualistic manner, and especially not in a hetero-dualistic manner. That is what Anna made that mistake. So to her, a passive partner is a woman, and an active partner is a man. But that is not true, because a woman can also be an active partner, even in straight sex. Yes. In straight sex. In fact, straight sex should just be called, and should be the only heteronormative sex. It is the only heteronormative sex whereby the man enters the woman. That is straight sex. But do you know what? A woman can get a dildo and fuck a man's anus, or put the dildo in his mouth, and she's the active partner. And the man, by receiving the dildo, is a passive partner, and they're heterosexuals. Yes. So, what does that mean? That activeness and passivity is nothing to do with masculinity and femininity. And if you stick to what I told you, that intersexuality, we are all intersex, but some are more intersex than others, it means that we both have male and sex hormones. We both have testosterone and estrogen. So that means there is no one who is masculine, or we are both masculine and feminine. That's what it means. So you can, even in a straight couple, they can be a masculine woman and a feminine man. Yes, it can happen. That's a straight couple. And in gay sex, you can have a masculine bottom receiver. It's very masculine, macho. And the top is feminine. You see? So what does that mean? These roles are not heteronormative, they are diverse. And then you can also have gay sex whereby both of you are macho, you are masculine, or both of you are feminine. And then you can also have a straight couple where both of you are masculine and both of you are feminine. So you see, so Anna made a mistake. She was blinded by heteronormativity. Heteronormativity, sorry for that. And she kept on publishing. She insisted on the attainment of full object love of the opposite sex as a requirement for cure of homosexuality. You see, attainment, this is just, first of all, there is no cure for homosexuality. Let's get that in. Yeah, there is no cure. So homosexuality does not need to be cured. It's not a disease. It's an orientation. Once you have homosexual desires, you are a homosexual. And then bisexuals can have heterosexual moments and homosexual moments. It's a fact. So there's nothing you're curing. Because if you can cure homosexuality, then you can cure heterosexuality. Yes. If you can cure homosexuality, then you can cure heterosexuality. And I remember there was a story that when these American soldiers went to Iraq, they had a spray that used to make the Iraqi soldiers, fighters, gay. And I laughed. I said, okay, then if there's a spray that can make someone gay, then there's a spray that can make someone straight. You see, we are living in a chemical universe. That's why Alan Turing was chemically castrated, to make him, to kill his gay libido using chemicals. Do you know there are chemicals that can make you more feminine and others make you more masculine? Yes, that's the game that's in the world right now. So anyway, Anna goes on to say, nowadays we can cure many more homosexuals than was thought possible in the beginning. Anna was so confused by her daddy. The other reason is that readers may take this as a confirmation that all analysts can do is convince patients that their defects or immoralities do not matter and they should be happy with them. That would be unfortunate. You see, Anna was confused. Sorry. Melanie Klein was a pupil of Ferenczi, and she studied the psychoanalysis of children. And Klein claimed that entry into the Oedipus complex is based on mastery of primitive anxiety from oral and anal stages. If these tasks are not performed properly, development in the Oedipal stage will be unstable. And she goes on to say, in the analysis of Mr. B, a gay man, Klein claimed that he illustrated pathologies that enter into all forms of homosexuality. A gay man idolizes the good penis of his partner to allay the fear of attack he feels due to having projected his paranoid hatred onto the imagined bad penis of his mother as an infant. She stated that Mr. B's homosexual behavior diminished after he overcame his need to adore the good penis of an idealized man. This was made possible by his recovering his belief in the good mother and his ability to sexually gratify her with his good penis and plentiful semen. Oh my goodness, look at what... You see, Melanie played with Oedipus complex. Now, Oedipus complex is whereby a child grows up and tends to be close to the mother instead of the father. Naturally, the child should be it is assumed that the boy child stays with the father and the girl child with the mother. But in some cases, some children end up being very close to their mothers. Now, that is what you call the Oedipus complex, especially men who are close to their mothers, boys. Now, in this case of Klein, she found that this gay man was always fantasizing the good penis of his partner because he was fearing the bad penis of his mother that he always saw. You know, when a mother takes care of you as a child, there's a way, you know, it's actually, there is a sexual perception formed by the child, but it is so small. I mean, it's not very strong in words. The child has no words, but he has a perception because he has seen the mother, and you know, there's a perception. And remember, she's talking about the oral and anal stages. Oral stage of the mouth, you know, the breast is actually like a penis. Yes. The breast is like a penis because you can suck it. The way you suck cock, you can suck a breast. So the child can form visions of that, and I'm seeing something projecting out of mommy's chest, and I'm sucking it. So the oral stages. So sometimes if children don't go through a proper oral, they have issues with their stages in their childhood, then they will have issues in their sexuality. That was now Klein's view. And so Klein, what she used to do, tell them that, oh, don't worry, mommy had a good penis. And and diminished after his need to adore the good penis of an idealized man. Yeah, so she was trying to say, you don't need to, Klein was making her patients feel, you don't need to look for a man's penis. Go and look for mommy's breast projection. Was good. And so this made him recover in his belief that his mother was good, and therefore he can gratify her with his good penis. And Oedipus complex is completed because Oedipus complex ended with Oedipus marrying the mother. Vote by European Parliament in March 2018, this year. A majority of 435 against 109 representatives in the European Parliament passed a resolution condemning conversion therapy and urging European member states to ban the practice. Congratulations to Europe for doing that. And United States of America, oh, there's a lot to talk. Let's look at what Brill criticized as treatments such as bladder washing. Look at that. Rectal massage and castration along with hypnosis, but referred approvingly to Freud and Serger's use of psychoanalysis, calling its results very gratifying. Since Brill understood curing homosexuality as a restoring heterosexual potency, he claimed that he had cured his patients in several cases, even though many remained. No, there's no cure. If many remained homosexual, no cure. We cannot waste time discussing that one. And Steckel believed that success was fairly certain in changing homosexuality through psychoanalysis, provided that it was performed correctly and the patient wanted to be treated. And on female homosexuality, Deutsch reported an analysis of a lesbian who did not become heterosexual as a result of treatment, but managed to achieve a positive libidinal relationship with another woman. Deutsch indicated that she would have considered heterosexual a better outcome. Again, she didn't change. She remained lesbian. Edmond, another one. Kinsey's work and his reception led to Hammond Burglar, to develop his own theories for treatment, which were essentially to blame the victim. Can you imagine? In the evaluation of Jennifer Terry, Associate Professor of Women Studies, Burglar claimed that if gay people want to change and the right therapeutic approach was taken, then they could be cured in 90% of cases. Burglar used confrontational therapy in which gay people were punished in order to make them aware of their masochism. Burglar violated professional ethics to achieve this, breaking patient confidentiality in discussing the case of patients with other patients, bullying them, calling them liars, and telling them, oh, what a bad psychoanalyst. And Burglar openly violated, that is violation of professional ethics, to achieve this, breaking patient confidentiality in discussing the cases of patients with other patients. I've read that already. He insisted that gay people could be cured. Bagler confronted Kinsey because Kinsey thwarted the possibility of cure by presenting homosexuality as an acceptable way of life, which was the basis of the gay rights activism of the time. You see, have you seen something? Kinsey was not homophobic. In fact, Kinsey was a bisexual. And Kinsey's bisexuality was proof that he could not attack any homosexual he met. And Kinsey, to me, is the best sexologist and psychologist on sex, better than Bagler. Bagler was a homophobe. How do you call a patient a liar and worthless? It's because Bagler wanted an outcome. He wanted people to change, and they were not changing, so he just gave up. But Kinsey never did that. Kinsey went further. And why did Kinsey go like that? Kinsey was gay. He was a bisexual. Yes. And he understood homosexuality. And Kinsey is the best source. That's why I'm saying the best source of sexual scientific evidence is from a homosexual scientist or a bisexual scientist or a lesbian scientist or a transgender scientist. They are the best. Why? They know it themselves. They know it. They have first-hand experience. Kinsey was bisexual. Kinsey was bisexual. Bagler was not. So, if you are a judge, whom do you listen to? You will listen to Kinsey. You won't listen to Bagler. Yes. You won't listen to Bagler. Listen to Kinsey. If you are a good judge, that is. But if you're a judge who is biased, then you will stay with Bagler all your life because that's what you want to believe. But a judge is not... A judge makes his decisions based on evidence. That's how it is. Now, in 1951, the mother who wrote to Freud, as we read, she sent Freud's response to the American Journal of Psychiatry, and it was published there. And the American Psychiatric Association Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, DSM-1, classified homosexuality as a mental disorder because of the letter. During the 3 decades between Freud's death in 1939 and the Stonewall riots in 1969, conversion therapy received approval from most of the psychiatric establishment in United States. Irving Bieber published Homosexuality, a Psychoanalytic Study of Homosexuals, in which they concluded, although this change may be more easily accomplished by some than by others, in our judgment, a heterosexual shift is a possibility for all homosexuals who are strongly motivated to change. Now, I want to tell you this. It is not, as a gay person, I'm now speaking firsthand. Strong motivation to change. It is not to change. Let me tell you what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say this. Any homosexual who wants to change is not that he wants to change to be heterosexual, but he is going to, the best he can become is a bisexual. Reason being, most of these people who really want to change, it is a psychological thought. It is psychology. It is not biological. Sex is psychological at the same time biological. And psychology is biological in my view. So motivation in your change, you will. But the farthest you will go is bisexual. Reason being, the biological processes some of them are automatic. Yes, some of it is automatic. It does not even need, your psyche is not even involved in it. Your psyche is not involved in it. So you can have 10 years of no sex with men. Then when the sex with a woman goes on, you don't get satisfaction. You see? And then you'll say, then I wish I was a homosexual. I go back to my homosexuality. And that's what those people do. And then some of them, they say, okay, I want to keep the woman, but I want to go back to I like my gay liaisons. And so continues having fun with men. So that makes him a bisexual. And even if he doesn't have fun with the men, or a few times, he's still a bisexual because he has already had sex with a man. That is my view. So I don't really believe in it. Is completely, all of these homosexuals who are so-called motivated to change, they really have serious internal homophobia, and they need to be helped to accept themselves, and they're affected because of the society they live in. Now let's go to Stonewall. Very long article, but very important to read. Now, Stonewall, what happened there? The Stonewall riot acquired symbolic significance for the gay rights movement and came to be seen as the opening of a new phase in the struggle of gay liberation. Following these events, conversion therapy came under increasing attack. Activism against conversion therapy increasingly focused on DSM's designation of homosexuality as a psychopathology. Yes, it was wrong to call homosexuality a mental disorder. Absolutely wrong. Absolutely wrong. Because a mental disorder should affect your mental functionality. But if you can do things well mentally, you can work like a straight person, you can argue like a straight person, you can think like a straight person in terms of thinking orderly, you can speak orderly, then it means, and then you sleep with men and you're a man, or you sleep with women and you're a woman, then you are not mentally unwell. So I stand with Stonewall guys forever on that. And in 1973, after years of criticism from gay activists and bitter dispute among psychiatrists, the American Psychiatric Association removed homosexuality as a mental disorder from the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental... Yes? Coming.